introduce everybody. Or you introduce each other. I want to introduce Daniel. Because Daniel is somebody, and correct me if I'm wrong here. My phone just keeps going, but we'll stay with it.
It's like pausing.
It's pausing in.
Yeah.
My phone's having a hard time, guys. So Daniel here is someone that works with, I'll just name a few people, but if you can help me out. You've worked with Mark Bell on stuff, and I know he goes to you for answers. I know that Todd Abrams, my icon boy, also goes to you for answers. I know that I go to you for answers. Heath Evan goes to you for answers. And what I mean by answers is
I go to him for answers.
And you go to him for
really,
answers.
for everything.
Daniel is an encyclopedia of retaining information, and you love studying. You love studying, and so what I'll get a lot of the time is I'll get video links to studies on just the smallest molecules and stuff, or situations with nutrition, how it impacts the mind, or just wild, incredible stuff. And then outside of the health and fitness world, some incredible cartoon stuff, and how the lineage I can't even say the word. Look at that, of superheroes. So you have a plethora of extremes that help me quite a bit. But the great thing about you is you're also my formulator, and we've been formulating some products together for my vitamin line. And so the stuff that you come up with, and what's great is that I've been in this industry now since 1987 was my first tour through a facility, and that was in Utah, and that was the Weeders facility in Utah in 1987. So that was cool. I was a teenager doing that, and ever since then I've enamored by nutrition and training and what the possibilities are. Because remember back in my day, the vitamin world was such a, weight gainer was all sugar.
Right.
So it's a different world today where nutrition actually, not nutrition, but supplementation really does help you. So give me a little bit about, even more so than I did.
Sure. So, one of the things we might want to kick off with is what we were kind of trading back and forth earlier in the gym today. Sean, you were making some great points about this, and Mike, you kind of started the conversation around how does one use vegetables as part of an overall nutrition program, and most importantly, for people who are struggling with eating vegetables and getting a bloating effect, what do they do to mediate that, and how do they integrate that into their nutritional plan?
You have vegetables?
Yes, I have all vegetables.
You have all vegetables. So
I think I'm the
you
one.
stay very, very lean.
Eat the most vegetable
right.
out of everybody I ever met.
Yeah.
In my life.
And who is this?
Rez, yeah. I was going to introduce you. And then Rez is my boy, one of the Titan crew, a Savage training partner.
Sean Rez.
Sean Rez.
Sean
5-0,
Rez.
don't forget.
The superhero is the Raz.
They eat vegetables. Right.
But he eats more vegetables than anybody. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's a starter with conversation. How you doing? I'm Rez. I eat more vegetables than anybody. But you look better than everybody. So it's a gift.
Well, my specialty is I keep my body percent under 5%, so I don't eat any carbs. So I consume just protein from food and all vegetables.
Okay, so then this question about vegetables came to me because a couple reasons. One is that I know that when I'm getting ready for a photo shoot or guest posing, I'll cut the vegetables out a good 2 or 3 days before, because it does retain water, it does bloat you a little bit. Now for people that are out there that eat their vegetables, but they're always talking about the bloatness, what's going on in the body? Why do vegetables bloat?
Sure. So a couple of things. A lot of times the reason why people in nutrition, not necessarily performance nutrition, but just in general, health and wellness, will recommend vegetables is because it slows the absorption of other macronutrients. So it better mediates the release of insulin. Of course, a preponderance of vegetables can lead to some bloating. Why? Well, you got a little bit of fermentation in the lower gut.
For a few hours.
Yeah.
Only for a few
So
hours.
it's a transitory effect. It's not something that lasts forever. But sometimes people notice that, and it also
It's a good
depends-
thing.
Yeah, it can
It's
be
a
a good
really
thing.
good thing.
And it also depends on what vegetables you're choosing, right? Some have a greater effect in that regards than others. So a lot of it has to do with what your choices are, and of course the quantity and what other macronutrients you have
Right.
along with those.
If you're taking
fibrous
carbs or
vegetables.
not.
Right.
Huge difference.
That's it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the most people gets bloated when they consume carbs with it.
Correct.
Because I
Yeah.
don't consume carbs, I don't retain water. So because I don't retain water, the vegetable doesn't affect water retaining.
Yeah.
You know, but I find that like broccoli is the most gets me bloated.
Yeah.
Just for a couple hours, actually I timed it.
Yeah.
And the most one that gets me shredded is asparagus. Because it's a natural
Yeah, because it has
diuretic.
a natural diuretic. Well, and that kind of segues into another question that we were kicking around, which is the difference between weight, right, and water weight. In other words, people will say, and you know, you'll get messages like this, Mike, like, dude, I just gained 6 pounds this week, or I just lost 2 pounds since yesterday. And you know, you mentioned that your weight will fluctuate perhaps 10, 11, 12 pounds in a day.
In a day.
Yeah, talk about that. Talk about why the body can be so plastic in that regard.
Well, I think, jump back just a little bit for a second here on the vegetables, is it's such an important thing, because it helps utilize everything that you're taking in, like we spoke about. I don't panic, and I don't know why people panic about how they feel at night. You're drinking tons of water during the day, you're trying to flush the system, you're eating food, so you're already gonna be heavier. And if you do retain, there's a little stress of your day, your work and stuff, I judge off the mornings. I judge off the mornings. You get a good night's sleep, you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so refreshed and everything. And it seems as though people really panic on their night view relative to their morning view. And so that's why this whole system, this discussion kind of came up about vegetables. Keep it in there. It is a process. We're trying to get somewhere. Stop judging off the short terms, what leads to the next thing about the weight gain. I'm a big guy, I'm 265, but you know, I fluctuate 10 pounds a day. So I start off at 265, but I usually finish the night at 275. And that's me slicing and dicing. So, but I don't panic about that. And I understand that that's food, that's water, it's the day, you're up. And I wish people would slow down on the excitement or the depression of gaining a pound or two, or losing a pound or two.
Right. Yeah.
You guys understand what I'm saying? Sorry, guys.
He's accurate about 10 pounds. Because I move about 2-3 pounds. Look at his forearm.
Yeah.
Look at this. You think it's not gonna get half a pound. You know, the way I describe the vegetable, I compare it to oil engine in the vehicle. I say if you have a car, the fuel is your protein is your fuel.
We got a hybrid. So
Yeah.
Can we still do this?
Negative kilo. And then
we don't have a Rolls Royce.
And then vegetable I call it oil engine, compared to oil engine in the car. I said if you don't have the oil engine, right oil engine in the car, or enough, doesn't matter what kind of car fuel you have, the car is not gonna work right. You know, so the performance, the whole digestion, the body, the vitamin, everything, yeah. So the vegetables are very important, more important than everybody else like usually considering them, because they don't like it, it doesn't taste good, it doesn't, I'm like, blame them, and then just drink them.
So I would go back to that and say, relax about the gaining of 1 or 2 pounds and the loss of 1 or 2 pounds. I recommend weighing in every 2 weeks. And I also go off of, how do the clothes fit? It's not so much the scale, because everybody goes off the scale. You lose 5 pounds and you're not happy in a month. And it's been 5 pounds in a month, that's not much. How do the clothes fit? Because maybe you lost 5 pounds, but you put on about 3 or 4 pounds of muscle that month because you haven't been training before that. Somebody messaged me the other day in the Titan crew and says, I'm really disappointed. I've lost 5 pounds in the last 3 weeks, and I really want to ump that. And I go, wait a minute, 5 pounds? You're a moderate sized guy, so we're looking at another 2 months, it's another 5, 10 pounds, that's 15 pounds. We're getting some good numbers. But people of today's age, do you feel that they want it now?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's right. We live in an epic of short attention span theater. People want the results right. People want the results now. I mean, and that actually brings up another interesting question. Sort of a nice what we talked about is a nice preamble for this. And Sean, you get this a lot. How many calories do you eat?
Yeah,
Right.
How many calories can I say? I don't count calories. Number one. And where do you get your calories from?
Right.
Is the question you want to ask. Because when you know you don't eat carbs, you want to say, hey, where do you get your calories from? And calorie getting from carbs, sugar is so much different than getting calories from protein. Because time digestion, a process of it is so different. And when you get it from carbs and sugar can turn to fats and retain your body fast, or from the protein, it takes time to digest. So it actually just breaking out those protein, it takes calories to burn more.
Yeah. Well, and I think what's interesting about that too is not just the total calories, but also when you're eating your foods. I mean, Mike, that's something that you're uber precise about, is the timing and sequence of meals, along with obviously measuring calories and your macronutrient distribution. How does that timing work for you, and how does it vary based on what else is going on with training?
Let's see, I'm a believer in 2 to 3 hours.
Yep.
I'm a believer in never missing. Now, with that being said, I also understand, and I want to keep this out of the discussion today, is that I am a science project, and I will continue to be that. And unless I study all aspects of nutrition, styles of nutrition, or any trends of nutrition, then I can't speak on it. So when you guys see that I eat fruit at night, there's a reason why I'm doing that at that time in the process. If you see me fasting, there's a reason why I'm doing it. The majority of the time is for me to test myself mentally more than it is physically. But there's a reason why I'm doing it. If you stay for my basic foundation work, it's eating every 2 to 3 hours. I do eat carbs. For me, carbs is longevity. Carbs is the one thing that's going to keep my metabolism going. I utilize carbs so I don't change the system of my body function. Protein is used for muscle building. Carbohydrates is used for energy for workout, filling recovery, muscle recovery. So those are things that I do for me. But the ultimate goal, again, because I think we talked about this with somebody that does my workout plan, that I don't know who this is, but they saw me do something, and they assumed I fasted all day. Tell them the story on
this. This person approached me. He was basically getting his workout program. He came asking about the nutrition, and then we were talking, and he asked, so I told him, these are the things you need to do. He's like, I asked him, when you eat, when you don't eat. So when he messaged me, I was like, he didn't get it right. Because what he wrote, he's like, he wakes up, he doesn't eat nothing until like 6 p.m. And he goes to the gym, then he eats, and he goes to bed at 10. I'm like, what
So just so they understand this again. So you're saying that he wakes up in the morning, he does his stuff, he works out, goes through the whole day, and then at nighttime he'll have a huge meal and go to bed.
Yes. I'm like, who does that? He's like, Mike does it. I'm like, what is it called? He's like, oh, I need to make fasting. I'm like, hold on a second. You know, Mike is 250 pounds. This guy needs to eat more than just that, just to maintain the muscle. That doesn't even make sense. He's like, oh, fasting. I'm like, maybe you just start looking at his process. Maybe he was doing a shoot. Maybe he has something going on the next day. But that's not how it works. He eats more than me. I eat 7 times. He eats 9 times.
Yeah, I think just so you guys understand, and he's talked about this numerous times about intermittent fasting. It's just a time period. So if you fast from 5 o'clock from the night before until 7 in the morning, that's technically an intermittent. You're fasting.
Sure. I mean, an easy way to think about it is fasting is the period of time between meals without consumption, right? So if you're eating every 3 hours, you're still intermittently fasting in between each meal that you eat, right? Now, some people will extend the window of time between meals to get certain metabolic benefits, and that can be a practice for longevity, for health, for
mind function, right.
upregulating autophagy, things like that. But at the end of the day, that's a choice, right?
That's a choice.
One can select the interval of time between foods, This actually brings up a really interesting question. This is something that you talk a lot about, Mike, and sort of your philosophy and approach to training and nutrition, which is it's a well-known constant in resistance training that if you do standing barbell curls as a way to develop your arms and you never do any other exercise, you will plateau, right? So people understand, okay, there needs to be a variance in exercise. There needs to be a change in exercises over time so you can continue to respond and grow. That same principle isn't always applied to nutrition. Why? Why is that?
Now, we've talked about this a while, and I've noticed this with not just myself. In the world of health and fitness, it is a common thing. Must change workout, must shock the body.
Right.
But nobody shocks the body with nutrition. And the old school, what is amazing with the old schoolers is, and I love, and I know that you love this. I talked to Robbie Robinson, from the 70s, or go before that, Steve Davis, who had one of the Frank Zane during that same period. Steve Davis is Mr. America. But I talked to him about how they did their nutrition and how they did their training. And how has it changed from then to now, training-wise? And it was compound movements, and it wasn't a lot of extra stuff, because there wasn't a lot of extra machines, but they still created incredible bodies. Well, how was the nutrition? They ate a potato and steak before a workout, ate a potato and steak after a workout, went to the beach and hung out, ate carbs and pasta and chicken the rest of the day. Well, how was your cardio? Didn't do cardio.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. These guys in the 60s and 70s had some of the greatest bodies, hands down. I can count 10 of those guys and put them up on the Olympia stage against the classic physique today. And I'd be like, these are the bodies I want. Because they're more appealing for the mass of society relative to the small health and fitness world society. You know what I mean? So why is it that they could eat potatoes and steak and carbohydrates and not do cardio and do just a basic workout and still look so good, where today people think that you can't? You have to do incredible nutrition and traumatize the body in these workouts where you're bouncing around on the ceiling, Heath Evans. So it's an amazing thing how we are moving away from health and fitness and becoming addicts of just hard work. And one of the things that I notice is that nobody tests their body with nutrition. Back to the story, sorry about taking so long. But I'll test my body and force it with higher nutrition and then cater it, in a sense, or cuddle it, and stay with that high calorie until the body starts functioning enough to utilize it. If that's a confusing statement, I just basically said, in a sense, I kept getting under 500 pounds to squat, in a metaphorical way, and moved it a little bit more the next workout, and a little bit more the next workout. And that's the concept of the nutrition I do. Let's say I'd taken 5,000. Well, it's just too much for right now. I stay on it, I keep doing the work. As soon as the body starts utilizing it, then I back down the work more. Wait a minute, is that confusing?
No.
But they're confused, because wait a minute, why would you back down the work if the body's utilizing it now? To see how little work I can do, still stay healthy, still get the workouts.
You're trying to minimize it. You're trying to minimize the work. Get the best result. That's what it is.
Yeah. Guys, we're gonna do this more.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Daniel,
Yeah, one last thing I want to say. I think it's really important. A lot of people make a mistake in taking their meals. I see a lot of people, they go put such a good cardio, right, for hours, and it's like, post the story. Okay, it's a time to eat pancake. Come again?
Oh, the extremists, the two extremes.
Why would you do that cardio and you want to put this back? You better use that carb before your workout. Use it as a power, as an energy.
Meals before,
as an energy,
I
and
love
then
it.
after eat clean.
We're good, Mo. It's a great point he's making. Let's do this. Let's keep giving them information.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll talk about this.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about where should you put your carbohydrates.
That's a great topic.
About where is Heath Evans? It's kind of like where is Waldo. We're gonna be talking about changing positions.
Right.
Love you guys. Mo,
Love you guys.
you're done. We're gonna stay with these people for another
Goodbye.
minute.